Okay, so I am working on the crochet hook case. This is how much I have so far. I have these pockets here for just the first segment, and I'm going to try to make it into a tri-fold one. So I just want to show you what I have so far. Here is my first panel that I began with, and it's 5 pockets, a spine, the next panel with its 5 pockets, and then I went and changed it up just a little bit. I added on another thicker spine and another panel with 5 more pockets, and I also altered the size of these pockets. To make this larger spine, what I did was, once I was done with this panel, I went ahead and started again with a copy of row number 12, which became my row 26. So I did row number 12, and then I went ahead and did row number 13, which is my row 27. Then I chained 2, and I did a copy of row 14. But instead of doing single crochet as she did in her spine here, I did double crochets with this one. So the single crochet gives this nice, thin, tight spine. I wanted to have a thicker spine on this side because I knew I would have another pocket folding over with something inside here. Now, after that, I went ahead and did a copy of rows 16 through 25. Those all became my rows 30 through 39. But I went ahead and did that again to do this third panel on this side. However, I changed up the size of a couple of the pockets here. With this first pocket, it's the same size as we've done all through these 2 panels. This one is the same size, made with a double crochet here as you go across the pocket. With these 2, I altered it a little bit and I did a triple crochet. So when it came time to make the pockets, I would do a double crochet down here just to make sure that the pocket didn't have too big of a hole there at the end. And then I started triple crochets. So I did triple crochets all the way along here, and then I just joined it to make the actual pocket. Then I went on to these 2 pockets that I made a little bit bigger. And how I did that was, again, right down here, I continued my double crochet, but then I started in on triple crochet all the way along. After the row of triple crochet, then I did 1 row, I chained 1 and did 1 row of single crochet on top of that, and then chained 1, turned back in the other direction, did a row of single crochet there, and then I joined it to make the actual pocket. So you can see how nice and thick that is, and you can really put a really fat crochet hook in here. So that's how I did both of these pockets, just to make them wider. I also wanted to just show you guys really quickly, as I was doing this, I would go ahead and use a piece of scratch paper to keep track of exactly which row I was on. So I always knew which row I was on, and then I would check it off as soon as I was done, moving on to the next one, just to keep track and make sure I was making everything according to her directions. But that was just a really simple way of keeping track. Okay, so I finished doing the back cover as well as joining the spine for the larger section, which I made with my third panel. So this is what it looks like here, and how I did that is, once I had made the section for the back cover, then I went ahead and I did my row 40 to join this back cover to the back panel. I did that row 40 just as it says in the video. And after that, for rows 41 and 42, I, instead of doing a single crochet, I did double crochets for each of those rows. So for row 41 and row 42, I did double crochets to make this nice thickness for this thicker spine that I have here. After that, I did my row 43, which joined the spine back to this middle panel here. Okay, so I finished making the entire outer cover for the crochet kit. You can see that all there. I also have the pieces of the plastic canvas all cut out. So I have one for each of my 3 panels, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide those into here before I go ahead and finish enclosing the whole thing. Okay, so this is where I am currently with my crochet hook case. You can see I have on all of the backing on all 3 of the panels, and I went ahead and did the single crochet row all the way around back to the beginning point. After that, I did go ahead and slip stitch in just as she did. However, I didn't continue down to make the loop for the buttonhole here because this is the trifold version of it. So I just slip stitched in, and then I cut my yarn and I fastened off there. Okay, so it's time for me to sew on my buttons. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 buttons on the front of my case, and I'll just show you guys how I did that. This one is on already. I'm going to put this one on. I just kind of lined it up here at the 3rd sort of X stitch, so this one will go right here. Okay, now I've attached the loop for one side of my buttons over here, and you can see it's just right around here, and it loops around to the button. I decided not to go through the spine for mine because I really like the look of how long the button loop is. Now, what I started with was I just put a slip knot on my hook, and I left a nice long tail so that after I've attached it, I can weave in the ends into the backing. So just as I did with my last one, I have my slip knot on the hook there, and then I'm going to go ahead and start right in here to slip stitch in. So right under there, I decided I would go under one of these little nubs right here so that I know that it's going to be tight and secure. And then I went ahead and at the very next spot down, I did another slip stitch. So there we go, I slip stitched just to get it connected here. And now after I've done my 2 slip stitches, I'm going to chain 32 because that is the size that actually happens to work for the button size that I have and for the length of my case when it's all folded up. So you might want to tweak that a little bit to see how tightly you'd like your button loop to be. So from right here, I'm going to go ahead and chain my 32 and make sure to keep those nice and snug. Okay, so here I have my chain of 32. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it around here to make sure that it's about the size that I need. And so you can see once that's on there, it can be taken off, put on real easily. And I'll just make sure to tighten that up a little bit as I connect it here. Now what I do here is once you've gotten your chain as long as you need it, go ahead and slip stitch back into that first chain or one of the first chains that you worked right here as you slip stitched into the back cover. So we're just going to slip stitch over to here. Make sure to try to keep it as snug as you can. And once you've slip stitched in, you can go ahead and chain 1. Cut off your yarn, make sure to leave a good sizable tail again, and what you're going to do here is as you have these 2 ends, go ahead and give those a nice knot. I did 2 knots on mine over here, so I'm going to do the same here as well. And I am just tying these so that I know they are secure before I go ahead and sew these in. Just grab a yarn needle and go ahead and sew in your ends, and then you are all done with your button loops. Again, you're going to make sure to just sew it in onto the back cover. You don't want to go all the way through to the panel. Just sew it in as nicely as you can, trying to keep your pattern looking good, but making sure that your ends are secure.